Coming up on iOS Today, Rosemary Orchard and I show you how to get cooking on your iOS and iPadOS devices, as well as some accessories you can use to make and bake. Stay tuned.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This episode of iOS Today is brought to you by Sennheiser. Why settle for anything less than great sound? Come hear the difference with Sennheiser. Right now, for my first 100 listeners who go to Sennheiser.com/podcast and use the promo code iOS, you'll receive 15% off the Momentum True Wireless 2 earbuds or any of their amazing headphones. Oh, wow. Welcome to another episode of iOS Today, the show where we talk all things iOS, tvOS, HomePodOS, iPadOS, all the OSs that Apple has on offer. I am one of your hosts, Mikah Sargent.
And I am Rosemary Orchard. Hi.
Hello, Rosemary, and thank you for being here today.
Oh, you're very welcome, Mikah. You're very welcome.
We have a really interesting show for you today because this sort of merges the digital and the physical. There are some accessories we're going to talk about, as well as some apps that we're going to talk about that will make your cooking experience all the better. And it starts off with something that Rosemary was showing off this morning, and I'm really pumped to hear more about this. So why don't you take it away?
Well, do you like sticking pointy things in meat, specifically a thermometer in a lump of meat? Because I don't know about you, Mikah, but sometimes I really struggle when I'm cooking, say, a joint of beef or gammon or something like that, maybe ham. And I always struggle to figure out, is it cooked? Because sometimes, and some supermarkets are really good at this, they'll print the exact amount of time that you need to cook something at the exact temperature on the bag so that you know, okay, this chicken needs to be cooked for exactly 1 hour, 26 minutes. And it's super precise. And yes, Anthony in the chat room, I did say a joint of beef. That's what we call it over here in the UK if you're cooking a roast dinner. Well, in order to make this easier, I picked up a meter. I got this on a Prime Day sale. This one is specifically the Meter Plus model. It's got a bigger range than the standard meter model. And this is $99. The standard meter is $69. There's also a meter block where you can get 4 of these, and they're suitable for barbecues as well as ovens. This allows me to poke this into the joint of meat, and then I can open up the app on my phone, and I can actually get a little bit of information. So I just put it to the expected range. So if it's in a barbecue or a smoker, those are made of metal. So obviously that's going to limit the range. So that'll be 3 meters to this block. But then if you put it in, say, a regular oven, then apparently it's 10 meters to this block and then a further 50 meters from there to your phone. So that is quite a big range. That's 150 feet, give or take. So you can extend it by putting another phone in between if you need to. I will just sign into Meter Cloud with my email address here. So this allows me to know when the meat is cooked because it will tell me. It will send a notification to my phone. And so I've now managed to unlock the benefits of Meter Cloud, which gives me infinite range. And it also has the Amazon Echo ecosystem integration as well, which could be useful if you have that in your house. So once I choose Get Cooking, this is super strange because I had paired my probe previously. Because it's in the box. That's the problem. So once you take it out of the box and you pop it in the meat, there we go. It says that I'm connected. Then I can go ahead and start cooking. So I've got no cook set up. I need to install an update on this because I set it up on the iPhone 12 Pro Max when I was using it, not 10s Max. So yeah, you set up a cook and then you tell it, okay, what am I cooking? How long do I want to cook it for, etc. Or, what kind of doneness do I want? Especially if you're cooking, a beef of some kind, then you can, say that you would like it to be medium rare, well done, whatever works for you. And then when it's done, it will send you a notification, and then you know that your meat is cooked. One thing that I mentioned before, I said gammon. For people not from the UK, I think this is not super common. It's a pork thing. It's somewhere kind of between ham and pork and regular pork, if that makes sense. It's usually got salt rubbed into the outside of it, and so on. It's fairly common over here, specifically in Wiltshire, which is the area that I'm from. But yeah, I guess it's not super common for you.
Yeah, I was wondering what that was. So I'm glad that you filled us in there. So I think one of the good things is that I saw there, or not good or bad necessarily, but promising things, is that you had a firmware update coming through.
Yeah.
So that means that this is regularly updated. It's not one of those things you buy this product and then you don't end up, they don't end up supporting it quickly after it's, been, released to you. So can you explain this, the infinite range? How does that work?
So basically what it means is if I connect this to something that's on the Wi-Fi network, and then, I don't know, say, for example, I'm smoking something, and then I leave home, preferably leaving somebody else at home who is, supervising things in case it catches fire. Make sure you've got a fire safety blanket in your kitchen, people. They're great for kitchen fires. But if you're smoking, say, a pork joint or something, then, it will have infinite range because somebody else's phone can be connected to this and it will pass that information off to you. So if you think of the AirTag network, where if your iPhone walks past my AirTag, then the AirTag can use that to update its location in the cloud. Meter works in a similar way. It's not going to do it in the background without you knowing. You're going to need to have the app installed and set up and everything. But it is pretty good. There was a little bit of difficulty on Kickstarter when they first started. Specifically, the people who bought the 4-pack had to wait quite a long time. But that's all resolved now, especially if you're buying it directly from Amazon. Then, of course, Amazon is going to make sure that you get that with your Prime delivery or, 3-day delivery, whatever it is in the basic one. But you just put it in. There is a little line on the meter itself, which this line needs to be covered.
That's
then
smart.
Yeah. And so that's how it knows, or that's how then it's done correctly. And then there's the sensor part at the end, which, tells you where everything is. And what's really clever is you recharge this with a AA battery, which is in the meter block. Okay, so this is the back of the meter block. I really like the fact that the cover just magnetizes on.
Nice.
If you look at it, there's two magnets there. And then there's a little bit of information in here as well, telling you about the LED and everything. It's just a standard AA battery. So every time you put your meter back in this block, it will recharge. Okay, so you just give it a wipe off. It's got a faint line around about here in the middle. And that's the part that, you have to cover that up with the meat. So if you're cooking something very, very small and thin, you're not going to be able to use a meter. But if you're cooking something a little larger, then you can. And it can do pretty high temperatures. I believe the ambient maximum temperature is 527 Fahrenheit. That's pretty darn hot.
Yeah.
Your
you
meter
definitely don't want your meats to get up to that temperature. So you're
No. But the internal temperature, of course, is different. This is actually in a bamboo case. I thought it was pine, but it's bamboo. But bamboo is really fast growing, so that's sustainable actually in that sense because they didn't have to cut down a pine tree; they cut down some very fast bamboo, and it's really, really good. I really like this. I don't use it super often because I live alone and I don't cook huge amounts of just meat for myself. It'll be very small amounts every once in a while. But this is great. I really love it.
I like the idea of the range. I can't remember what I'll say 190 feet, 180 something.
165 feet.
165 feet. If I've got an iPad running this app within 165 feet of it, then I don't have to worry about where my iPhone is, as I'm carrying it around my house. That can be kind of used as
and that's what the infinite range is as well.
Yeah.
Because then you can be anywhere, theoretically at home. And it will also go through the meter link, which is your home Wi-Fi as well.
That's cool.
Which means you can also set this up so that your partner will also get notifications. So say, for example, you've got guests over, maybe, later in this year, there's going to be some holidays coming up, which involve lots of cooking. You can make sure that perhaps multiples of you get this notification.
The turkey is ready.
Exactly. And that means that one person who wants to just keep chatting with you and keep chatting with you and keep chatting with you, even though sorry, Aunt Gilma, I need to go and get the turkey out of the oven. And then you end up with burnt turkey. You can say, look, I've got a notification. The turkey is done. And she'll be so distracted by your notification that the turkey is done.
I don't care about that newfangled contraption. Don't show me that. We're having a conversation. Don't be rude.
Exactly. But yeah, then you can always, your partner can always go and get it out because he'll have got the notification as well. And hopefully they'll be talking to somebody a little bit more forgiving. In that sense.
Well, that is a super, super cool device. There are a few different Bluetooth and smart thermostats out there, thermometers out there for meat. And it's nice to see one that it's clearly very well thought out in its integration and the range and all of those things that play a role. To know for sure that it's going to be able to be tracked across everything is quite nice. So I'm impressed. I'm impressed with this. This is a really neat device that I could see folks. I think Aunt Pruitt, fellow co-host here at Twit, definitely needs one of these meters because I know he cooks a lot of meat. I also am not a big meat cooker, but I am a big meat temperature measurer. I definitely I don't use sort of an eye. I always use an internal thermometer whenever I'm cooking meat for pretty much anything.
Especially if you're cooking poultry, it just makes sense to have this sort of thing. And it works equally as well in a roast chicken as it does in a steak.
Nice. All right. The meter. I'll talk quickly about another accessory here that I really think, is pretty cool. This is, I meant to bring it with me this morning and I completely forgot. That's one of the downsides of now recording in the studio is that I end up going, oh, right, you should bring this. But I think Anthony will be able to show it on screen and we could talk about it. It is the 12 South HoverBar Duo. And I have used this device in the kitchen before for when I'm cooking and it's fantastic. So you have this kind of clamp on the top of this HoverBar that you can clamp your iPad into, and it works for iPads of all sizes. And so you clamp this into it, and look, we've got somebody showing themselves sketching. You've got somebody who's got it next to their computer as a secondary display, someone who's learning how to create a birdhouse, someone who's just having a conversation over FaceTime. You can use it as a point of sale device and all sorts of things. But one of the things that you can do in the top right, if you're watching the video, you will see it's clamped to a cabinet in the kitchen. And it is a fantastic device for holding onto your iPad while you are cooking in the kitchen or wherever you happen to be cooking. And it kind of gets it out of the way and lets you cook with the recipe that you're working with without it kind of coming into danger. And I love how adjustable this device is. You've got like 3 different points, or actually I think it's 4 different points of adjustment. The base has one adjustment. There's a hinge in the middle, and then there's another hinge on the back that's a ball joint. And so it lets you rotate and move and angle the iPad just as you want it. And you can see in the middle there, if you're an influencer and you want to do some cooking stuff that you actually show on screen, you can use it to hold the iPads so that you can see the camera, or so the camera can record stuff. I think this thing is fantastic. When I was at home recording iOS Today, I would clamp my iPad into it before the show and use that as my kind of stand for the iPad. It also, again, if you're watching the video, there's a quick shot of the iPad being kind of down and in front of the base of the HoverBar Duo. So it's very, very adjustable. You can make an easel out of it. You can have it stand up and have it as, a more standardized display. It moves all over the place. It's also got a groove for you to place the Apple Pencil. And these slots that are built into the arm of it make it easy to thread through a wire for keeping your iPad charged without there being a whole lot of tension on the iPad charging port and the cable itself. So a very cleverly designed product from 12 South that I feel is super great for cooking in particular.
Yeah, I really like this sort of thing because it also works for the iPhone, but in the kitchen especially, you don't want your iPad on, the surface. It's going to have a small footprint this way, but then it's out of the way of any potential spills or accidents that you might have while you're cooking, which I think is something important to keep in mind. We love our technology, but we need to look after it as well. This is one of the ways that we can do so. It clamps to the countertop. I need to get one of these and see if I can fix something under my cabinets to mount it to, because I don't have a place where I can easily mount it on the countertop. But I would really like to have it sort of hang down from underneath the cabinets while I'm
I think that's the cleverest use for it. It's also super. Not only is it adjustable in terms of all of the different hinges, but it comes with 2 Allen wrenches that let you tighten or loosen each individual piece to make it easier to move up and down or to make it more difficult to move up and down. So if there's wobble that you don't like, or if you need it to be easier to move, it lets you do that as well. So they were clever enough to make sure that everything is kind of included in the box to make it so that it's just how you want it. And then given the different ways that it can be adjusted, because the thing that I love about the ball joint is, and if we can go back to that under cabinet shot, you'll see that it's clamped and it's, what's the word, like perpendicular. So the clamp goes out to the left, and then the arm goes out to the left, but the clamp is still parallel to you. So that is because of that ball joint where you can actually take it and turn it all the way around and have that be facing you, even though the back of it is kind of, again, parallel to the actual clamp itself. So pretty neat how much adjustment they've given. There's a lot of room for moving things around just as you like. So that's my cooking accessory hack. But great thing about it is not just for cooking. You can use it in all sorts of settings. And I have I have used it in all sorts of settings. All right. Let's move on to an app that you showed me that I think is so cool and I think would pair well with the 12 South HoverBar Duo.
Yeah, so you've got a pick for this as well, but I'm going to go first with a great app called Crouton. And for people who've not heard me mention Crouton before, Crouton is a recipe app for your iPhone or your iPad. And it allows you to collect recipes, and then you can go through and look at them. So you can import them from websites and all sorts of things. So if I were to be making, say, for example, this wonderful bread and butter pudding, I've imported this from the web, and I can tap to go back to Delia Online, that's Delia Smith, and see, what the actual website says. But I'll tap done because it's actually got all of the information here. It's got my ingredients list. I can choose to scale that. So if I were to go down by half, then it would be for 2 people. It adjusted the people as well as the ingredients. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to get half an egg though. So I think I'll scale that back up to 4. There we go. That's the default. Wonderful. And it shows you that that's the default when you're on the default. And then what I really love, okay, so you've got the method here, and then it's highlighting. This is my chosen highlight color. I love purple. So it's highlighting ingredients from the ingredients list in the steps to try and help me recognize it. Now, it's not perfect because it's taking a guess. So for example, there's candied lemon or orange peel, and it's highlighted the word candied rather than candied peel because it you're missing orange or lemon or orange or whichever. But it's doing a very good job. Now, of course, I can share this. So I can share this as a Crouton file or a nice PDF. And if I do the PDF, then you can see it's quite pretty. And you can also change the highlight color. So if you've got a black and white printer, you can set that to a nice gray. And you can do things like turn on and off the header image as well when you're sharing it, which is really good. You can also add it to your grocery list. And then this is set up to go, in my case, straight into reminders. But what I really love is this play option. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I've got hands-free mode. So I can actually open my mouth and I can see the ingredients list. And I did that without touching my phone. I just opened my mouth and the ingredients list popped up. And so if I open it again, it goes away. Okay. And now I wink with one eye and it's not picking it up. It's supposed to go to the next one, but I'm not doing a very good job winking because I'm on air. If you wink with the other eye, it'll go back. And and that allows me to go through the steps without ever touching my iPad. Okay, so when you're cooking, especially if you're working with something like raw chicken, you don't really want to be touching your devices. You need to make sure you wash your hands. But if you're immediately going to have to go back to the raw chicken, it kind of feels like a waste. Well, with Crouton, you can go through your recipe without actually needing to touch the iPad, which is one less surface to clean down afterwards. But what you can also do is you can add this to a meal plan. Okay, so I'm going to put this in for Monday, which is the Monday gone. I didn't make it then. But there are some other options as well. So I can tap in the top right and I can say generate for the week. Now, bearing in mind, I've got a lot of cake in here. So I've got bread and butter pudding and original American brownies in here. And I've got a fontina and beet grilled cheese sandwich as well. So it's managed some vaguely savory things. Raspberry meringue sandwich on Sunday, anybody? It sounds pretty tasty. But there's some other options as well. So you can do things like change your app color. It syncs automatically through iCloud. It can also you can also check on the sync health, which is good. And there is a household sharing option where you can add members through iCloud, and it will share things with them, which is pretty great. You can also toggle off the meal plan entirely if you don't want that or need that. And you can also specify meal plan folders. And this was actually a feature I'd asked for and came along a little bit later after I'd asked for it because the developer is really lovely and responsive. And I asked, can I have the meal plans please be generated from a folder because I have a lot of dessert things? And he said yes. And so I can say, from these things, please generate my meal plans. And then it won't go into my cake folder, which I don't have right now, but I need to set up. You can also set which reminders list you want it to use when it saves the groceries out, so that those can then either be imported by whatever your preferred app is. AnyList is quite a good choice there. And you can also have the sharing watermark on and off for sharing when you share recipes, and highlight the quantity in the popover of ingredients. So if I go back to this Rocky Road fudge and then open my mouth, it's highlighted. You can see there's some purple here, and if I were to turn that off, then that would go away. But that is Crouton. It is an amazing application, and it's actually free to download with a one-time in-app purchase. If you want Crouton Plus, which allows you to have all of the recipes and everything in it. And that one-time in-app purchase, I am just double checking. Of course, it would like to open the App Store for me. Is $6.99, which is quite reasonable for how much you get from this app, because it really is great. I particularly love the household sharing. I know that's something a lot of people struggle with when it comes to meal planning, cooking, and sharing recipes. So being able to actually share that with your partner or family is wonderful.
I agree. So the one that I'm going to mention is Paprika, and we're on Paprika 3 at this point. And it's just one that I've used for a long time, and in one that Leo shared with me originally and has now become kind of a stalwart, steadfast app that I use quite a bit. So Paprika, I think... The thing that really got me interested in Crouton, of course, was those features where you can wink and open your mouth and do those to actually make it work. And that's perfect whenever you're cooking and you're moving your hands and you've got the clamp. It's just, I ended up using Paprika ahead of time, and so I am more used to it. It has some of those features that you'll be used to. So there's a groceries thing where you choose recipes and you can add them to your grocery list, and then it's smart enough to sort them into different aisles based on standard aisles. But you can also go in and tap on aisles and make a change to them if you want to, or add new ones. And so it will, based on what the name of the item is, it will try to sort them into specific ones. There's also a pantry feature, which lets you list what you've already got in your home. And so if I tap the plus sign, I can add, let's say, baby spinach. So it looks like spinach is kind of the basic option that they have there. So let me go back and just choose spinach. And now I can go in and choose how much spinach I have, the fact, of course, that it's in stock, when it expires, and the aisle that it comes from. So here I would go ahead and call it baby spinach since that's what it is. And then I can say I have 2 bags of baby spinach, and now that's in my pantry. Now, should a recipe call for it, it will use that information that I have here in pantry whenever it goes ahead and generates your grocery list. So that way you can use stuff that you already have and only pick up the things that you need from the grocery list. It also has a meal planning feature built in where you can go in and use the recipe that you already have. So let's say I was going to do Asian orange chicken for breakfast, apparently. We're going to have tuna casserole for lunch. And for dinner, we're going to have Black Magic Sangria. What's up? And for a snack, we'll have black bean vegan enchiladas. So now that's all in there for that date. If I tap the little 3 dots at the bottom, I can add them to my grocery list. I can export it to the calendar, which the cool thing about this is that it will drop it on your calendar that that's what you want, and then it will give you some more information that lets you figure that out. Now, someone in the chat, James, is saying the coolest part is how if you find a recipe online, you can import the link and it removes the 40 pages of crap that people post about the recipe and just pulls in the ingredients and steps. And I'll show you that in a second. You can email this grocery list, or you can print it out. And I really like the built-in print options that Paprika offers. There's lots of great formatting for these. We'll go to menus just because I want to show the menus feature. So let's call this Saturday Feast. Oops. Saturday Feast. A feast fit for a king to be enjoyed on Saturday. Save. And then now in this, we would add the recipe that we want. So again, for breakfast, this, for lunch, we'll do that's breakfast as well. There's, I was talking to Burke this morning about the banana bread recipe. Let me delete that real quick. So we'll go add recipe, banana bread, lunch, save, and dinner, add recipe, black bean vegan enchiladas for dinner. And then I'll show you what happens whenever we print this. Then it's got your whole menu out for that. So then you could also go ahead and add all of that. And this is what's really cool about this is if you've got, maybe a family of folks and they're wondering kind of as you're meal planning for the week, they could check this list and see what was going to be on a given day. You can also take and look at the recipes that you have available here at any time on the right of the screen and quickly get an idea of what's going on. So all of that is really cool. But then let me go to Safari. Oops, that's not Safari. Where I have looked up a honey glazed gammon recipe. And I can tap in the top right corner of the share sheet and choose Paprika 3 as the share sheet option. And it downloads the honey glazed gammon recipe. And in this gammon recipe on the BBC, there's lots of and when I was 4 years old, I had my first bite of gammon and it changed my life forever. But first, let me tell you a side story to this side story to the side story before we get to the recipe. And then 9 pages down is the actual recipe, as is standard across all recipe apps. So this has the name. It's auto-formatted the name. You've got a photo in there for the gammon. You can give it a rating off the top, but probably you haven't had it, so you don't have it rated yet. And then info, where you can say, if it didn't get anything, you can add this yourself. You can choose the difficulty. We'll go with medium. I don't know if it's actually medium. Prep time less than 30 minutes, but the cook time's over 2 hours. And then depending on, because it says, so this is, it says less than 30 minutes and over 2 hours. So Paprika is not able to go, okay, that means X for total time. So I'm just going to go ahead and put in 2 hours and 30 minutes because you can sort these recipes based on cook time as well. So there we go, 2 hours and 30 minutes. And then the source, which I think is really important to have. Then this is going to be an entree. I know I did not pronounce that very well. It doesn't have a description in here. You could put a description in here if you wanted to. And then here are the ingredients and the directions. It's already populated that. And then because the BBC populated it with some nutrition facts, those get dropped to the bottom. Now I'm going to tap save, and then we will go back to Paprika, and we go to recipes, and then we look for, I'll just go to most recent, honey glazed gammon. And now on the left, we've got our ingredients. We've got the nutrition information. On the right, we've got the directions. It's formatted, the prep time, cook time, total time, serving, and difficulty. With all of that, then I can, on the left, if I want to make it for more, I can change the scale. So I want only a half of a serving instead, and it will go by default for the units depending, or you can change those from metric or US, depending on what you're doing. And then there you go. You've got all that information on the left side. You can pin this recipe, and here in the bottom right, you can add timers. What I like is that it will read the recipe and find those timers for you. So as you're going through, I can just tap that 20 minutes and start the timer, and it goes right then and there. But maybe there are 2 steps that I'm doing at once. You can see on the left here in the toolbar, I've got my timer for the simmering of the vegetables and my timer for letting the gammon sit for 15 minutes. So if you're doing both of those at the same time, all of those timers are over here on the left. Really handy to have, really handy to work with there. And then at any time, I can also tap in the bottom right to bring up those timers. But my favorite thing, I like to work with physical recipes most often. And I think it's just like a nostalgia thing for me. I like to be able to collect recipes that way. So I will often tap in the top right on the 3 dots and choose print. And then you can see these different options. There's a full page, there's index cards. So if you want to print them to index cards like your grandmother did, you can. You can change the font size. So let's go with small. The card size, a standard 3x5 index card. Margins. And then you can choose, do I want to show the info? Do I want to show the notes and the nutrition? I'm going to turn off nutrition. I'll leave info and notes. I tap next, and then you get a preview of your index card here. So it's shown you how it's going to look when it prints out. And you can even see it's got the 2 out of 4 in the top right. It's super well formatted with ingredients and everything here. I'll tap done because I want to show you too. You can choose how many copies. You can choose how many pages you want to do. Again, the paper size, that should be 3x5, not 4x6. And then the orientation of it. And I've got an AirPrint printer at home, and so I am able to print these out. I typically do full page printing, paper size, US letter, orientation. You can do portrait or landscape here, small font. And then I like to do the 2-column typically for the layout, show info, show notes, show photos. In this case, I'll do the thumbnail photo and where it is. Now watch how it immediately was able to reformat that. And now you've got your ingredients on the left in the column and your directions on the right in the column with the information at the top. I print this out on some nice thick paper that I have specifically for recipes. And then I'm able to work through that as I'm going. So that more than anything else, the ability to take a recipe off of the internet with 94 pages of preamble, turn it into a recipe that I can use, and then for me, print it out as I like to do and save it in my recipe book is what I love about Paprika. So I think it's a super cool app that has captured my heart time and time again, and captured my recipes time and time again. It's available on iOS, Android, Mac, and Windows. Different purchases for different places. So I did end up buying the Mac version because I really like to be able to do kind of formatting or adjustments there. But I also use it, as I said, on my iOS device with AirPrint. It makes it very easy to print out if you've got, again, an AirPrint printer set up. I don't think there's one in the office. Oh, it looks like there is. So I could print. I won't, because I'm not going to make gammon, because I don't even know if you can buy gammon in the United States. Maybe I can get Rosemary to smuggle me a gammon.
I don't really want to be arrested by TSA, but I do want to make a quick mention.
Yeah, please do.
That Crouton can do the exact same thing. I'm pointing the wrong side. There we go. Crouton can also import recipes. This is from BBC Good Foods, another great source of recipes, and it's done the same thing with importing, and I can rearrange the steps and everything if I want or need to. And it's got the website, and you can put it straight into a folder if you wanted to. So this would probably be a dinner or maybe a special occasions. It can do that sort of importing as well. Also, if you've been using Paprika and you want to try out Crouton, because it's free to download, if you export your Paprika recipes as a Paprika export, Crouton can import that for you,
nice.
Which is very much worth it if you want to give it a try, because of course it is a free app. It's available on the Mac as well, and it's a cross-platform purchase. I'm not 100% certain whether or not the Mac version requires an M1 Mac. I know it requires Mac OS 11, though, and it seems to me that it's not for M1 Macs. But there we go. They're both great options, and I think that between the two of them, everybody can find something that that fits their needs.
Well, before we round things out with just a couple more things we want to talk about, I do want to take a quick break because we've got a sponsor for this episode of iOS Today, and that means I get to tell you about them. This episode of iOS Today, it's brought to you by Sennheiser. When it comes to earbuds, honestly, it's all about sound quality. And that's why you've got to check out Sennheiser, because they make the best earbuds money can buy. You know, for the past 75 years, while other companies were focused on phones and tablets, Sennheiser has put sound first. They make some of the best headphones in general, so they know a thing or two about making exceptional sound devices. Their new Momentum True Wireless 2s deliver the best listening experience and have been finely crafted for even the most discerning listener. It also comes with a free smart control app that you can use to adjust the sound to your personal preference with the built-in equalizer. So you can go in and say, I really want my highs to sound like this, my mids and my lows to be like that. You can switch off your surroundings and dive into that impactful song or important episode with, yes, active noise cancellation. And this is pretty wild, up to a 28-hour battery life, more than one day. So these earbuds can let you listen all day and then some. You can feel the quality of Sennheiser's earbuds the second you put them in. And they've also got over-ear headphones and soundbars for all your audio needs. That's why it's no wonder that CNET called the Momentum True Wireless 2's clearly superior sound quality to the AirPods Pro, and, quote, the earbuds to get if you value sound quality over everything else. Got a pair here. They come in this really nice fabric case. Listen to that. That has USB-C charging on the back and a little LED indicator to let you know what's going on. I can pop these open, and you have your two earbuds here. There's, of course, left and right. And they just kind of, here, let's see if we can't do some Foley. Well, I dropped it, but it makes this nice clicking sound as it magnets into the case, which I don't know, I always like that. And then the other thing I love about these is that it is a really nice touch-sensitive spot here, so that you can do touch controls to play, pause, trigger your voice assistant, etc., and turn on and off active noise cancellation. What I love about it is with, let's say, some other devices out there, it's not touch, but it's actually sort of jostle or vibration that causes the specific setting to trigger or change. And so you end up like tapping on your ear, and it makes a really loud sound in your ear that can be kind of unpleasant. With these, just a subtle touch, a subtle tap will do the change that you want to do. You pop these in, and you know you're working with Sennheiser sound. They sound fantastic. They come with a bunch of different ear tip options, which is really great. And like any good true wireless earbud, they have the auto pause feature where if you pull one out, then it's gonna go ahead and pause your music for you so that you don't, or your podcast for you so that you don't miss out on what you are listening to. With those different ear tip options, you can really get a good fit. And what Sennheiser does very well as well is instead of focusing on being something that just kind of slides into your ear, Sennheiser knows a thing or two about the ear canal and how kind of getting closer to the eardrum and providing good sound is better. And so these are kind of angled in such a way that when you put them in, they actually say, pop them into your ears and then sort of twist them forward. And in twisting them forward, it puts that little ear tip into your ear canal in a safe way, of course, that will provide for a better seal, which makes for better sound and better active noise cancellation. So, and also a better fit that stays where it is. So all of those things come together, showing you Sennheiser knows a thing or two when it comes to sound and sound quality. Why settle for anything less than great sound? You can come hear the difference with Sennheiser. Right now, for our first 100 listeners who go to Sennheiser.com/podcast and use the promo code iOS, you'll receive 15% off the Momentum True Wireless 2 earbuds, or get this, any of their amazing headphones. So if you've been wanting an over-the-ear headphone from Sennheiser, oh my God, or those really cool IE 300 or 900, this code will work for those as well. That's 15% off when you go to Sennheiser.com/podcast and use our promo code iOS. Go there, check it out, get some great sound, whether it be with these Sennheiser Momentum True Wireless 2s or any of the earphones and headphones they have listed there. And remember, it's just the first 100, so head there quick. Sennheiser.com/podcast, promo code iOS. Thank you for sponsoring this week's episode of iOS and for making some incredible sounding in-ear listening devices. All right. This next one I'm excited about because we've heard a lot about these different companies, and I'm curious, I'm guessing that you may know a thing or two about this one, having tried it. Tell me more about what's next.
So I am a sometimes not permanent HelloFresh subscriber. And what I like about HelloFresh is they're one of these companies where you select the meals that you want, and they deliver all the ingredients and recipe cards, and then you make the food, and that's it. There's no, leftovers of a half onion or wastage or whatever, because they try to match everything up. Now, as you can see, I've skipped quite a few deliveries, and that's, because I haven't wanted it for the last couple of weeks, or last week and this week. But if I pop into the settings and then into my cookbook, I can see some of the favorites that are available. And for example, there is this creamy, zesty chicken rigatoni with courgette that I have tried before. I can't remember what courgette is in American English, but it's the green one that's not an aubergine. Or an eggplant.
The zucchini.
Zucchini, there we go. That's what it is for pretty much every other language. In British English, we have courgettes. You have zucchini.
I like courgette. That's a cool name.
It's a really lovely name. I also really love that if you slice it with a vegetable peeler, you get really lovely ribbons of it, which they have you do in some of the recipes. But I like the fact that this is one of my favorites. I can see a bit of information. There's something not included with the delivery if you get this. That's 100 milliliters of water. Obviously, if you're using this in the US, you're going to get US measurements of this, and it's adapted appropriately. You can add the values straight to the health app, which is really good. And you can see as well what utensils you're going to need, because the idea is that you've ordered this from HelloFresh. But even if you haven't ordered it from HelloFresh, you can tap start cooking. And it will go through. And then when you use each one, so I actually don't use recipe cards. I use the app instead. And the reason why I use the app is I can tap on a timer and it just runs that timer. So it's cooking my wheat rigatoni pasta for 12 minutes. Unfortunately, it's not actually doing this for me. It's not completely magic. And I can see the timer in the top right hand corner is flashing. And I can swipe through to the next step, because this is what you have to do while the pasta is cooking. Then I've got here, so I need to start frying the chicken. If I tap on the timer, then I can see the timer's running, and I can also go, okay, well, I'm ready to start cooking the courgette. I'll tap that as well, and it updates in both places. And then when all that's done, I can move on to the next one. And if I tap at the bottom, then I can also see the ingredients and pictures of them. So, for example, if you've got several different herbs in your delivery and you've opened them up, and then put them out on your counter, and then you realize, okay, which one of these is the basil and which one of these is the mint? Well, hopefully you will know. But if you don't, then you can take a quick look and you can go, actually, you know what? That's mint, that's parsley. I can tell because I can look at the pictures, or whatever it is that you need. And then once it's cooked, then you're ready. Drain the pasta, mix everything together, serve, and voila, enjoy your meal. And it encourages you to take a photo of it. Obviously, this is HelloFresh. They would like you to market their product for them. And then of course you can share as well. But I really like it. I found the recipes to be really good. I've had some dishes which I didn't think, I thought I was going to like them, but I didn't think they were going to be super amazing. And they arrived and I cooked them, and oh my gosh, they were delicious. They were so good. And I really enjoyed it. And also, if you go to cancel, they will give you a bit of a discount if anybody is looking at it. Usually, when you sign up, I know that they frequently sponsor podcasts. They're not currently sponsoring Twit, but they do sponsor other podcasts. So if you listen out on your podcast listening endeavors, then I'm sure you will find a discount code somewhere. There are plenty of them out there on the internet. During lockdown, I got 50% off for a couple of weeks,
nice.
Which was really good value for money. And they frequently do sort of 15% off or 25% off, 20% off offers for, it'll be for a couple of weeks. It's not a lifetime discount. It's to try and get you hooked. But I have to say, it does a pretty darn good job. It's tasty food. You can specify that you're a vegetarian or a vegan. You can't say that you don't eat, for example, fish. But what you can do is every time you order, you can say, I'm going to cancel, I'm going to take out the fish meal and I'm going to replace it with something else. And over time, it uses what you've selected to suggest other recipes you might like based on all the other users. So
nice. I haven't used HelloFresh. I have been a Green Chef subscriber in the past. One thing that I liked about that one was there was a little bit of convenience because they would often chop up everything for you and do the prep. So it was a good way to do a quick meal, but then they stopped doing that so much. And so I ended up canceling with them. But all of these different options, I like that folks have a little bit more convenience in creating meals for themselves without having to, spend so much money, that this can be kind of an affordable way to get to do this. So all very cool. And I love, as you mentioned, that you don't necessarily have to be a subscriber to be able to use the app to create some of these recipes. That's pretty cool. And that also gives you the option to come back later if there was a recipe that you really liked and make it how you'd like to. All right. Yeah. The last one for our apps segment is a tried and true app. It's beautifully designed, and it is a great way to collect recipes for beverages. This app is called Highball. It is a favorite of our technical director and editor, Anthony Nielsen, who also happens to be quite the, what's it called? You've got baristas. Is it bartender? There's got to be a mixologist, quite the mixologist. So there are 3 recipes in here right now in Highball. The mint julep, where look at this beautiful photo you get at the bottom. You can change it between ounces and milliliters. You can change the quantity of drinks that you want to make. And you can see that it updated there at the top to adjust, how much you need. Then you can share that with somebody else if you want to, let somebody else know how to make this recipe. I'll go down and choose the old-fashioned, which again has this beautiful photo. But what this is great for is collecting recipes for cocktails or mocktails as you'd like. And so I can hit the plus button and choose Create New Drink. And then we call it, let's go with the Moscow Mule. And then I can add ingredients. So we know that it has ginger beer. And we would choose, let's just do 1 ounce, ginger beer. I don't even know. Was it 2 ounces of vodka?
Yeah, typically 2 ounces.
2 ounces of vodka and squeeze of lime. Let's see what they have there for that. Not pinch. Well, let's just do, half an ounce of lime juice?
Yeah.
Lime juice. And then I would put in my recipe. Here's where the recipe goes, which it's a pretty easy recipe there. And then, love this, edit image. So does it go in a rocks glass, a Collins glass, a highball, a snifter, a coupe, a cocktail, a Nick and Nora, a port, a flute, an Irish, a tropical, a julep, or a mule? Yes, a copper mug for the Moscow Mule. And then if it calls for ice, if you would put a lime wedge on the top or a lime twist inside. And then if there are any garnishes that go along with it and any extras that would go on the top, then you would add that as well. And you can tap done. You could change the background color. So like a nice dark green for this. And then, of course, you can give credit for the recipe and then tap done. And then now that is also stored in your list of different cocktails. So you don't just have to use this for cocktails. As I said, you can do mocktails or any kind of mixed drink. Maybe you have like a lemonade style punch or something that you want to keep the recipe for and then be able to share with other people. This is just a beautifully designed way to keep track of those different drinks that are available. And this is from the folks, Studio Neat, who make some really cool accessories that you can buy for your, mostly for your Apple devices. So they make some like high design objects, including not just for your Apple devices, but also high design devices for your for mixology. They've got this kit that lets you make clear ice cubes. And they've got I think it's a kit for making simple syrup and storing simple syrup. Yeah, the simple syrup kit. And so that way you can store it exactly how you want and make sure that, you're making it as you choose. Do they not have the ice thing anymore?
I think they withdrew that recently, actually, on the website.
Gotcha.
I was looking at some of their other stuff, and it has. I think I saw a posting that it had disappeared,
Gotcha.
that they sold out, and that was the end of that range. But they have some links to some really good stuff. But of course, you don't have to use their stuff. I have just a standard cocktail making kit. But one tip I will give you if you're going to make cocktails: put those glasses in the freezer.
Yes, that is a good tip. That's a very good tip. Alrighty, folks, that brings us to the end of the cooking segment of the show. Cooking, creating, baking, all those things, segment of the show. Let's move on to the news. And we kick off with a new product that Rosemary has in hand.
Yes, I have it right here. I have the MagSafe battery. I've actually had it for a couple of days, but I thought I would put it back in the box and unbox it live on air for everybody, because why not? So it comes in this lovely little paper case, which, you can just open up. And voila, we have a MagSafe battery. Now, what I like about this, I thought this was going to be not sticky. That's the wrong word. But the effect that you get when you run your hands over the silicone case, where you can sort of feel the friction. You don't get that with these with the case on this. It's quite smooth, but you do have that on the inside where it's slightly rubberized. So when you pop it on the back of an iPhone, then it just sticks in place. And that's actually it's lit up and set that my phone is charging. Obviously, my phone is plugged in right now, so it doesn't work for telling me that it's charging. But I have a MagSafe phone here as well. And so people can see the difference. And, it fits really nicely on this device. And it works really well. When I pop it on, I'm going to take it off and do that again on camera so that people can see. There's a little LED that lights up on the bottom. It's really hard to spot because I've got front-facing lights on me because it's just getting darker here. But it's there, and that will light up green if it's charging your phone and the MagSafe battery is fully charged. There should be an animation on the lock screen. I'm running iOS 15. There's a bit of a bug with that right now. So it doesn't always show up, but it fits perfectly on the back of an iPhone mini, Mikah. Absolutely perfect.
Yeah, with that one in particular, I saw how well it fits. It's quite super. What is the word I'm looking for? Like
it's a perfect match.
Yeah, it's a perfect fit.
It follows the bezels round at the bottom and everything. So I've got an iPhone mini here in an OtterBox case. So there's a little bit of space around the side. If you look closely, you can see bright pink there. And then the edges of my iPhone are actually purple.
I'm sorry, is that a color matched cord?
This is the Anchor cable. It actually does match the iPhone super well. Bearing in mind, when Anchor released these cables, the purple iPhone wasn't out yet.
Oh, okay.
It didn't exist. So I am incredibly impressed at how well this matches. This is just beautiful color matching. But yeah, I really like this. And I think it's a really interesting product because it is more expensive than something like the Anchor, which I have. I've had it as my app cap on the show. And I'll just do a little bit of a comparison for people. So the MagSafe is slightly taller, but it's also slimmer. And width-wise, they're much of a muchness. There's not a huge amount of difference here. But the Anchor is less than half the price, and it's got more than 3 times the capacity.
What?
Which is a big difference. And if we look at the bottom, then this has got lightning. That's the MagSafe and a single color changing LED. Whereas the Anchor, I'm pressing the wrong side of it now, has 4 buttons to light up to indicate charge level and then a flashing blue one. And it charges via USB-C. But there's some other things that you've got to take into comparison as well, because this is $40 versus $99. Okay. So, on the one hand, this is a clear winner, right? It's only slightly bigger. It's got more than 3 times the capacity. It's got charging indications on it so that you can see. When you connect this one to your phone, it should tell you how much it's charged, though, on the lock screen. Those MagSafe animations that you get when you put a watch on there. That's supposed to happen at the moment. I can't demo it because I'm running iOS 15 and it's just not working for me right now. But that's a beta bug.
Yeah.
I've seen it on friends' phones on iOS 14 and it works great. But this is also a MagSafe charger. It does pass-through charging. So you plug a lightning cable into this. Say, for example, you're going on holiday. Okay, you take a lightning cable with you because you need to charge up your AirPods and so on. Well, that's fine because you can actually put your AirPods on here. You plug a really long, say a 6-foot or a 12-foot MagSafe lightning cable into this, and this becomes a MagSafe charger. Okay, and a Qi charger. So you can put your AirPods on this. You can put your AirPods Pro on this, and you can put your iPhone on this. And that means that, then it charges up and it charges your device first and then the battery pack, which is really convenient when you're traveling and in hotels. And the other thing is it can also charge the other way. So if you're in, say, a rental car and you plug your phone in to use CarPlay, you plug directly into the phone, it charges the phone, and then leftover, it charges the battery pack. So I don't know. I can't say that there's a clear winner here. If you're just shopping purely on price and capacity, then obviously Anchor is going to come out ahead, as Anchor frequently does with these things. Their stuff is really good. It's solid. It's rugged. It feels like this is not going to get damaged at all. Whereas I've already seen people selling, like Nomad, I think, are selling a stick-on case for this. Which is a leather case retailing for $35. It ships in November, though, if you pre-order now.
Someone's asking,
which is
sorry to interrupt.
quite a while.
Just while you're on the subject of AirPods and things like that, you can't put your Apple Watch on that, right? And charge your Apple Watch.
No. Your Apple Watch. So the Apple Watch uses a modified version of Qi charging, but it is modified in such a way that Qi chargers generally don't work. And that's a real shame. For travel, I have this tiny little Satechi dongle, which it's just a puck with USB-C on it, and I take that with me because that works super well plugged into an iPad or something to charge my Apple Watch up. But this, unfortunately, neither of these can charge the Apple Watch, which is a shame. I would have really loved that to work, especially with AirPower. And I'm also being asked in the chat room, is the magnetic hold the same? Well, I have an iPhone 12 Pro Max here in an Apple Silicon MagSafe case. Okay, so I'm putting the battery on there. This is not moving. Okay. I don't want to shake it too hard because it might fall off, but it's sticking pretty well there. Okay. So that is the Apple one. And then the Anchor one, let's connect this. It managed to stick to the thing. Okay, this one's easier to demo it with because I have more of a hold on the battery without touching the phone. Neither of these are going anywhere, okay? The key to these is this little line here at the bottom of the MagSafe. Okay, so you have the MagSafe ring that helps it stick on the phone, but it could stick on sideways. But these vertical lines here, they're what help hold it really well in place. I really like it for that. I don't feel like this is I don't have to worry about putting this in my bag and having the MagSafe charger come off. But if you just want something that you can throw in your pocket, say, for example, I don't know, work in the events industry, you have long days and you just know that you're going to need to charge your phone later, you could have one of these in your equipment box, one of these in your pocket, stick it on the back of your phone, you're good to go. I know when I will be going back to attending conferences and so on, I'm probably going to have both of these and get through both of them in a day. But it'll be great because I can just chuck one on the back of my phone when I need it and then take it off and stick it in my bag. And I don't have to, worry about the cable coming out of my bag on it. Also, because this is USB-C, it will recharge really fast from, say, a 96 watt MacBook power adapter, which is really useful if you need that sort of thing. If you're fine with just 20 watt charging, it's still going to be pretty fast, but the capacity on this is considerably less. So
yeah, I gotta say, at the end of the day, I think that Apple really has charged too much for this. When you've got these third parties that are out there already with devices that are pretty comparable, and as some people are pointing out, including Anthony, the USB-C charging on the Anchor is nice. I quite like USB-C charging, and so I've got a lot of USB-C cables these days, and it feels more modern and could reduce the amount of cables I take with me. And then the fact that it's got so much more capacity so that I can actually fully charge a device is really nice. So as you said, there are back and forths with it, but I just think $99 when you can get other ones for far less.
Yeah. I'm also going to give people a slight hint when it comes to the Anchor one. Anchor themselves suggest in their forums at times, don't pay full price for our items. Wait for them to go on sale. They frequently go on sale on Amazon. There is a great website called Camel where you can paste in an Amazon link, set your price, and they're going to email you whenever things go under that price. That works really well. That's how I got this. That's how I got notified that it was available on Amazon actually to buy when these first came out, because they had a very limited availability to start with. They're now fully in stock, so you can pick one up tomorrow if you're going on a trip the next day. So this is, I think, $45, but you can get it for less. So, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. All right, let's move on to some more news. This morning, I think it was, recently, was it this morning, Anthony? The Engadget article? Yeah. So this morning, Engadget published a piece about Facebook, who is joining the ranks of cloud gaming options. Amazon, Microsoft, Netflix potentially in the future. All of these offer cloud gaming. And so Facebook has joined the party. But I have to say, I think that in joining the party, they've shown how poor they were prepared for this. It feels to me, I was talking to Anthony this morning, it feels to me like what happened was you had all these other companies doing it, and then you had Netflix who's potentially doing it in the future, and they said, we can roll something right quick, let's get it out there before they got any really good titles. And so you go to the Facebook gaming page, and if we look here, a lot of the games are kind of goofy, very what's the word I'm looking for? Sort of just low quality games that you could play without needing to be streaming from it. There are all these games that are often also apps that you can download and play on your device directly, and other games where you can just go to a website and play them. And so none of it feels like it is worth playing as a streaming game. So we were kind of struggling to figure out who the heck this is for and how this is like set apart from anything else that's there, because it all feels very just, let's call this game streaming and pop it into this library. So, I mean, we'll have to keep an eye on it and see if they end up adding some games that actually make sense to have in this streaming method versus what it seems like right now, which is taking low quality Apple Arcade games and making them available via game streaming. And there was one that we played, or that I saw Anthony play a little bit of, which was a racing game. And you could tell that the quality of the game was such that it was just the reflections on the car were really bad. Everything was very fuzzy on the edges. And even some of the games where there wouldn't be a lot of processing power to make them work, the text was fuzzy and lower resolution. But if you had downloaded those games directly, then the text would be high resolution and much better. So I'd say right now, Facebook is just doing this like, we can do it too thing. And I'll be interested to see if they improve upon this. But as it stands, I don't consider them any kind of competition in this space of game streaming because they're just kind of making available games that you can already play without needing to do a streaming thing. And so I tried to think about it in other countries, for example, but often in other countries, so India is a good example. Facebook has a lot of stuff that they do in India, but often in those countries, it's more about using less mobile data to do more versus, storage issues. So game streaming is not necessarily a good idea in a place where you don't have as much mobile data to take advantage of. So it doesn't seem like it's for that person, that community. So I was just left after hearing about this going, who is this for? Because I could download these apps on their own and they look so much better and play so much better. Mm-hmm. So
if I want this, I'm going to pay for Apple Arcade.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do. Yeah. Because Apple Arcade games are even better.
Yep.
I genuinely, I'm not sure who this is for. I think it's very much as you said, they've got to go, me too, me too, me too. Oh, wait, no. It reminds me of political parties in the UK, which couldn't organize a party in a cocktail bar where every single guest is a mixologist. I think they were too quick to go, me too. They would have been better off coming late to the party and being the one that turns up with the amazing presents. Yeah. Going, hey, look what we brought you. We're really sorry we're late, but isn't this amazing? And as it is, yeah, I'm not sure. I have an Oculus Quest 2, which you need a Facebook account to sign into. One of the few reasons why I still keep a Facebook account around, because I really do love the Oculus Quest. That, to me, is where Facebook should be focusing their energy. They've already got this. Just focus on that side of things.
Yep. All right, moving on. We've talked before about the U1 chip, ultra wideband. That is a chip that's available in many of Apple's most recent devices that provides for sort of positioning technology where you can tell how close or how far one device is from another device to very small amounts. It's got very sort of high resolution ability to detect how close or how far something is. And it's what enables the handoff features for the HomePod Mini with your iPhone, where you bring your iPhone close to it or bring it farther away and it starts to vibrate as it gets closer, and then tapping it actually lets you transfer the song or the phone call or what have you. U1 ultra wideband is not available in every region because of the frequencies that it uses, but it is starting to expand. And I think that regardless of where you are, that's an exciting thing because the more countries it's in, the more Apple has reason to take advantage of these features and do more with them. And we will start to see more uses for that technology as more places get it.
Yeah, it's really good to see this is rolling out to more places. There's still quite a few places where you can't use this. However, I suspect in some of these countries, iPhone adoption is lower. Hopefully Apple are just going to keep working with all the regulatory authorities in this case to, manage to roll this out to everybody. Because I recently saw a YouTube video on somebody who shipped some AirTags around the world to be and to try and track them. And the one that went to, I believe it was North Korea, could not be tracked, and I believe ultra wideband is also disabled there. But the ones that went to the States, to Elon Musk and Tim Cook, definitely were found and were tracked the entire way.
Wow, interesting. I might have to ship one over to Tim Cook. Old
yeah,
Timothy.
He got it posted all the way back to Germany as well. And the best part of it was the letter had rounded corners.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now I doubt they're going to just start rejecting them. Maybe I'll send it to a friend of
I would
mine
suggest
that
people
works
don't
at
do
Apple.
this. A YouTube video went viral about this. So people aren't gonna, everybody that ships an AirTag to Apple are probably gonna get pretty upset. So I wouldn't do that. Keep your AirTags home and close to your heart.
Yes, because otherwise you might not get it back, and that'd be a shame. All right, let's talk about the next thing. This is so. We've had a lot of shows this week that covered everything going on with Pegasus and the NSO group. It's essentially a suite of tools used to crack smartphone devices and be able to get into the data that is stored in these devices. And we've seen different devices hit by this spyware. And so if you have concern that your device, as unlikely as it is, as is included in this in the show notes, if you have concerns that your devices might be hit with Pegasus, well, you can check out the service that lets you check for Pegasus running on your iPhone.
Yeah. I've checked it. I do not have Pegasus running on my iPhone. I didn't think I did, but I checked it in the name of the show, and I'm pleased to report I do not.
Is it an app that you download? How does it work?
Let me see. I've done about 8 different ones of these this week to check if my phone's running different stuff. And surprise, it's a new iPhone. It's not running anything because I'm trying an iPhone mini for a month or two. But it's a tool that you download from GitHub. So you're going to need to follow the instructions there. And you have to install it on your Mac and connect your phone and everything. That was the one. So you're going to need things like Homebrew and stuff installed. It's not super user friendly to check this out. But at the same time, if you're seriously concerned about it, I'm sure either you can follow the instructions or you can find somebody to help you follow the instructions. The only thing I'll mention is it says in the installation information, use brew install Python 3 libusb. Brew is from Homebrew, which is a Mac tool to install a variety of different utilities on your Mac on the command line. So you're going to need to install that first, which is a step that they didn't mention here because they're assuming everybody already knows what that is who's trying to use this, which is fair enough.
Got it. All right. Well, we will definitely... I'm not too worried about it, so I'm not going to do it. I'm glad that you gave it a go just so that you could see how it worked. I know Renee Ritchie on Mac Break Weekly gave it a go as well, and came up clean, which is great. But yeah, the tool's there. If you know how to use it and you want to check your stuff, you can. Up next, we've got some more news. All right, let's talk about the first thing. I'm pretty pumped about this. Aqara, which makes devices for, and Kevin will be proud, Kevin King, who is the technical director and editor of Smart Tech Today. He originally went and looked up the YouTube videos from the company after I wasn't sure about the pronunciation and sent them my way. So I know now it's pronounced Aqara. Aqara makes some cool HomeKit accessories. Rosemary Orchard, you've talked about them before. You inspired me to get the vibration sensor. I have the little button that lets you set up different custom commands. And then I also ended up getting something that I know you're going to be talking about here, which I felt was a huge improvement on the Wi-Fi version of the hub. But now Aqara and Apple have partnered in offering its devices in the Apple Store in Europe. So yeah, I love that. That's like Apple going, we appreciate the products that you make, and it's enough for us to want to sell them in our stores.
So I bought, in the name of testing, the Aqara M2 hub, and I had the M1S before. There were 2 things wrong with it. Number one, they didn't produce a UK version, so there was no version with a UK plug on it. And so I actually ended up with a Chinese version with a Chinese plug on it, and people who I bought it from on AliExpress were super lovely and sent me an adapter in the box, which is good because I didn't have a Chinese to UK adapter at home. But it's quite big, and it was one of those things that's big and it's round and it blocks the outlet next to it. Even in the UK, where our outlets are relatively well spaced because the plug itself going into the socket is quite huge, it still managed to be quite inconvenient for me. So I was really pleased to be able to get this because not only is it Ethernet rather than Wi-Fi, it also is powered by a micro USB. This is really great. Also, this is a significant improvement because I've been struggling recently to pair new devices to my hub. Turns out the M1S can only pair 32 devices to it. They also have a camera, the G2H camera, that compares 64 devices. And those of you familiar with binary, yes, this one holds 128 devices when you want to pair things. So that solves my problem quite nicely. What I will say, though, is by all means, buy the hub from Apple. Go on AliExpress and buy the sensors. They're exactly the same. They might come in the older, slightly less pretty packaging, but they are a third of the price or less.
Oh, wow.
They are super expensive in the Apple Store. They're also super expensive on Amazon UK or indeed any other localized retailer. They're very expensive. Just order them from AliExpress. There are various stores. AliExpress was their only official outlet for quite a while. You're not getting a knockoff here. You are buying the original stuff. Aqara also make the Xiaomi things. So if things look very similar, that's why. I'm really glad that this is officially available in the Apple Store. I'm glad I now have a UK hub instead of a Chinese hub. You can set it up to connect to either, the UK servers or China mainland servers or whatever. And because I had the Chinese hub, I could only connect it to the Chinese mainland servers.
Oh,
and it took me quite a while before I could figure out how to get my hub to stop talking to me in Chinese. Which, was fine. I mean, it was door sensors and some buttons which would turn off all my lights or something. It would be very inconvenient if somebody hacked into it, but I also figured the people of China have considerably more interesting people to hack than me, and turning off my lights while I'm podcasting would be amusing about twice. And then I think they would just not bother anymore, especially because I have overrides for everything, as people tend to do once you're getting super into HomeKit.
Aqara recently released a new accessory or announced a new accessory that I like that Aqara is falling into, in a good way. Sometimes you say falling into and it's bad, but falling into the same kind of area as Eve in offering the different accessories that are not necessarily the ones that are the most popular or what have you, but are incredibly useful, particularly if you're doing automation stuff. And they recently announced an air quality sensor that is air quality monitor and sensor that's a lot like the one from Eve in that it has an e-ink display. So Cult of Mac has an article on it. I just saw Scooter X posted in the chat. Unfortunately, I'm switching between IRC apps on my iPad, so I can't pull it up, but it looks like we've got it here. It's the TVOC or TVOC air quality monitor. It is e-ink, so it's going to use a lot less energy in doing so. And I'm wondering what all it does whenever it measures air quality. It looks like it measures the ppm, or it shows ppb there. Maybe that's different depending on your region.
I think this is Russian.
Russian right now.
I'm guessing, so that might be ppb. I'm not sure. My Russian alphabet, my Cyrillic is absolutely terrible. But I think that's ppm. So the Aqara actually have been making something similar to this for a while for Xiaomi. And I actually have one right here. I actually use this as a clock. I have a couple of these around my house because they were about, I think $12 each. And they connect to the Xiaomi app via Bluetooth. I don't have these set up to feed into HomeKit. I already have Netatmo sensors and stuff everywhere else. I just wanted smart clocks there, and these update via Bluetooth. It's really small. It's really thin. It's got a little bit of Velcro on the back because I stick it to the shelf above me via Velcro. But if I pop off the back, it uses two CR2032 batteries.
Can I buy one in the United States?
I don't know if you can buy one in the States. Like if you buy these things on Amazon, they tend to be much more expensive than if you buy them from AliExpress, and you'll get them in 10 days if you buy them from AliExpress anyway, or less. I have ordered things and I've ordered things on the Friday and have had them turn up on the Thursday or the Friday.
What's that
they are
called?
Paying import tax. So this one is the I don't speak Chinese. Mi temperature and humidity monitor digital clock.
All right,
They
I'm
also
writing that
do
down.
ones with the temperature and the humidity in really big letters or numbers without the time on it. But I specifically wanted an e-ink clock, or rather a small, simple digital clock that I could read easily, that I didn't have to go and manually press buttons on every time the time zones change, which is only, twice a year. Yeah, it's really good. And sticking them up with hook and loop fasteners. They also ship with magnets to stick them up to magnetic surfaces, and a little stand so you can just prop them up on something. But I have stuck them out the way because they're so skinny. Look at that. Like my finger.
I know, that's why I'm going to have to check and see if I can get it.
I stuck one of these up in my bathroom. It's on the other side of the bathroom to my shower, and I can see through a steamy shower wall and still read this.
Nice.
It's great. I love it.
And that would be better to have, because right now I've got an Echo Show 5 with the slider, the privacy slider on in my bathroom.
Yeah.
And
I have one here on my desk.
Yeah,
because it connects to my Ring doorbell. So whenever my Ring doorbell senses motion, I can see it on my desk.
That's nice. I'll have to see if it can be shipped to you. I wonder if I can download the Xiaomi app in the United States.
Yes. Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the Mi Home app.
Okay.
So Xiaomi also make HomeKit hubs and devices, similar price range and point to the Aqara stuff, but Aqara have partnered with Apple to sell in the Apple stores in Europe and the UK. Yeah, it's pretty good. There's some links in the IRC. I will see if I can get you my links, Mikah, to the AliExpress stores, the 2 that I've used for this stuff.
Please do.
And a link to this specific one where I actually bought it, because you get a slight discount if you buy multiple of these at once. And if you just want to stick them in every single room like I did, then they're pretty good.
Yeah, that I really want that. That's a pretty cool device. All right, let's move on. An astronomer has taken some photos of the Milky Way using an iPhone. What? Who knew?
I know. And apparently this is not, like, he could have done better. That's the thing that astounds me here. The astronomer says that they could have taken a better photo than this. And I'm there going, I can't take a photo like that. How do I do that? And so the image has been tweeted. It's Tom Kurse. I think I'm pronouncing his surname correctly. But apparently, this is, it's doable. It's not something where you're just going to point your phone up at the sky and snapshot done. But it is something that you can do on an iPhone. And oh my God, that's an amazing picture. I mean, I'm sure if you're looking at it 4K, Twitter has downscaled it massively. And then of course it's coming through, our screen recording software to you if you're watching the video version. But wow, that is a great picture. I am so impressed.
The tweet reads, "We need to talk about the astrographic potential of modern smartphone cameras. This image was made from data captured using an iPhone 12 Pro Max. Sensor pixels are just 1.7 microns. It's ridiculously capable for its size and provides usable data courtesy of 12-bit DNG, or as Apple calls it, ProRAW. This image shows the summer triangle with a bright region of the Milky Way, as well as a meteor. Yes, that's in the data. There's more latitude, but I just don't have time to do a long workflow right now. To be clear, this isn't perfect. The usual astro-related aberrations are there, but these could be corrected on device with the right approach. During the next clear spell, I've got a lot more experimentation to do, but needless to say, there are stacks of untapped potential." Let me go ahead and give old Tom there a follow so I can see what Tom takes photos of next with the iPhone.
Yep. Yeah, so he is a freelance astronomer who was previously at the public astronomy officer at the Greenwich Observatory in London. Of course, the Greenwich Observatory does a lot of things, and he's got a free stargazing course on his website called Stargazing London, which is pretty nice. So I would recommend, if you're interested in trying this out for yourself and getting into stargazing, then you sign up for that because it's free. Why not?
Sorry, now I'm sending out a tweet about this photo.
I've just completely and utterly derailed Mikah. That's okay, Mikey. You do that. I'm going to talk about the next one, which is more for you than for me. But the next one is Daring Fireball linked me to this, and there's a new app out. And this app is actually primarily a widget app, which is great to see because there are more and more widget apps coming out, focusing on the fact that on the iPhone, you've got these widgets which can take up a lot of your display. And there's a new app, which is great for people on the West Coast of the US, but people all around the world, really. It's called Breathable. And in case you can't guess from the name, the point of Breathable is to let you know about the air quality index. And it even has a really clever emoji scale. I really like it. Breathable is, it's simple. It's pretty. I downloaded it and had a look. It seems pretty accurate to me. That said, I do live in a town, but I live kind of on the edge of a town next to a nice big park, a nice clean river, in the UK, and we've been quite lucky over here recently. It's a really beautiful application. I actually sent it to you, Mikah, suggesting that you might want it as an app cap, but you already had something for this week.
Yeah, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, let me go to twit.tv/iOS, and let me go. I don't know if it was last week, but it may have been the week before. Let's see, what was my app cap? That was CoStar. Oh, yeah, because I had that whole spiel. Let me go to the week before. My app cap was Be My Eyes. I wonder, maybe I talked about it on...
I think you talked about it on another show. I haven't.
Oh, there it is. Yeah,
about it on the
Breathable. On episode 556.
Oh, yes.
I did talk about Breathable because I was happy to see you mention this. Because Breathable, the cool thing about it, and it just got this update that makes it even better, and so that's why I think Daring Fireball ended up covering it. It was a little bit kind of difficult to set up and configure in its original form, and so if you didn't know too much about how to work with APIs, it was kind of difficult to use. So I could see why it didn't pick up as much steam in its original form. Now it's much easier to go in and configure. But what's great about it is it's purpose-built to be a widget, and so I think right now I have, which screen is that on? I don't remember which. I've got a screen. Oh, there we go. So on my iPhone, and the widget isn't working because iOS 15. So forgive it. It normally works really well. That widget there is the Breathable widget, and I use that all the time for keeping track of air quality index around me. But yes, I think that the reason that it was covered on Daring Fireball, the recent update just makes it a little bit easier to use for folks who don't necessarily know how to take advantage of APIs. So definitely worth a look.
Yes, it really is. And it's always good to see these apps get updates as well.
Yeah. And for people who are watching, forgive me if my eyes are in a different place than what you'd expect. We're always working on the setup here, making it rock, and so sometimes I'll end up looking at the wrong camera because we don't have those red lights. Oh, that was pretty good. Hey, we don't have those red lights that say
that's
this is
because
live.
You challenged the team behind the scenes, Mikah.
This is what I get.
They were ready for you.
Yeah.
They were ready for you.
This is definitely what I get. All right, what is next?
Well, this is related actually to something that I talked about, or I didn't talk about. We talked about on Twit last Sunday. I was on Twit last Sunday. Anybody who missed it, go back and watch it. It was really good fun. Jason Snell guest hosted because Leo was in Hawaii. And one of the things we talked about was, emulating Windows, original, old school Windows on an iPad. An iDOS emulator is going to possibly be removed from the App Store.
Oh, no.
So download it now. Okay. And the reason is because there's, in-app purchases which run code. And it's a bit complicated, but basically it's violating Apple's App Store guidelines. And the developer says that he can't cut critical functionality of the app in order to keep it in line with Apple's policy, which I understand. That's if the app is built around doing this, which it is, then it's a real shame. But at the same time, Apple does have to enforce the App Store policies. But if you want to try Windows 3.1 on an iPad, as I know some people in our chat room have done, then get it where you can. And it should remain available after that.
I've just purchased it so that they can't take it away from me. You can pry it from my cold, dead hands.
Or they can just not let you install it on another iPad when you transfer.
That's exactly what they'll do, but I'm just in denial because isn't that the first step of grief?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And now I'm mad. I'm moving through the stages of grief very quickly.
Yeah, got to keep going, Micah. Got to keep going.
What's after grief? Bargaining? Okay, listen, Apple. Listen. I will give you an AirTag shipped directly to Tim Cook if you let me keep this app. And what comes after that? Is it acceptance? Okay, fine. I didn't want Windows on my iPad anyway. It's fine. Is there one after that? I don't think so. Anyway.
I'm not.
I
don't know anymore.
I'm not a psychologist. All right, let's see. What do we have? Oh, we talked about this a little bit earlier. If you want a leather case for the device that attaches to your iPhone, you can get one of those. Nomad, I got to give you credit because they've been making a lot of great leather stuff for all of the different things that Apple ships. They've got these really pretty leather keychains that you can attach to an AirTag. They've got leather covers for the MagSafe charging puck, and now they've created a leather case for the what is it called? The MagSafe battery pack. And then they also have a beautiful leather case for the AirPods. So lots of different leather options. I've got the AirPods case, the AirPods Pro case. It's gorgeous. And the Apple Watch strap that I have right now, the Apple Watch band I have right now is a Nomad band. And typically, I have this folio case for the iPhone that is MagSafe enabled for keeping my phone and all of my wallety goods in it. So pretty big fan of Nomad and the stuff that they offer. And I gotta say, they use the Horween Leather Company's products and still has that fresh leather smell. Very nice. I've also got the active or rugged band. I don't use that one as much because it's definitely for folks who are more rugged than I am. This one is nice because it's more bendy and kind of fits my wrist better. It's thinner and easier to take on and take off. And then I just, the case, if you get one of their cases, it comes with some leather conditioning paste, I think it is. It's either paste or it's a wipe. I haven't opened it because I haven't needed to, but that lets you kind of do some aftercare as you need to. I just happen to have leather soap and leather conditioner that I bought a long time ago for all of my leather stuff. So every once in a while, I'll give it a clean and a rub down of that leather conditioner. But I love the way that leather ages over time. There are already some like scratches and bumps and things on this that just show that it's being used. And I think it's delightful. So if you'd like to protect your MagSafe battery pack, you can do that. One of the things I noticed with the MagSafe battery pack is Matthew Casanelli and I were talking about it yesterday, is that when you spop, yes, the MagSafe battery pack onto the back of the iPhone and you set down your iPhone, it keeps the camera lenses off of the table, which is kind of nice. If you don't have a case on it anyway. So it's just kind of nice that keeps everything up and elevated. But if you want to protect it too, then you can get this leather case for it. $35 from Nomad Goods. All right. We have reached the end of the news segment of the show, which means it's time for Shortcuts Corner. All right. We have reached the end of the news segment of iOS today, which means it's time for Shortcuts Corner. This is Shortcuts Corner, the part of the show where you write in with your shortcuts request and the incredible Rosemary Orchard gives you feedback on the shortcuts you would like to make. Up first, we have a Shortcuts Corner request from Ms. D, who writes to Rosemary, I need to figure out how to set alarms relative to my first alarm. This is for sourdough, And on this day, I fed the starter at 5:30 a.m. My God. So the first alarm for the next step is 4 hours later. Then I manually change each alarm accordingly. The length of times between alarms are the same, but I'm tired of having to manually change these. So is there a way to create alarms that are relative to the first alarm? And looks like Ms. D also included some screenshots showing. So if I started at 9:30, then at 10 I need to do this, at 12 I need to do this, at 2 I need to do this, etc.
And bearing in mind, all this is 4 hours after the first thing happens. And so I had a look, and actually there was a little bit of chat in the chat room when this was posted, and some people came up with some different solutions. But I've gone with the solution that I think most people are going to just understand by looking at it. And that solution is to take the current date and time and then progress from there. Okay. So what you can do is, and this is just doing the same steps again and again and again. Okay. So you adjust date. That's the first action. Okay. So I start by adding 4 hours to the date and time right now at this very second when I'm running this alarm, running this shortcut, sorry. And then I create an alarm and I give it a name. Okay. So I've used the same names that Miss D included in her screenshot, and I calculated all the times out. And so then you would add another 30 minutes after that one, and you stretch and fold 13 times water. I presume Ms. D knows what all of this means. Then after 2 hours, you stretch and fold 6 times water, wait another 2 hours, stretch and fold 6 times flour, wait an hour, proofing basket, wait 3 hours, preheat the oven, 30 minutes after that, bake. And then this will just create alarms. And so when you run through it, it'll create all of these alarms for you. Now, what you will want to do or need to do is to use Siri on your device to delete all my alarms. And yes, there we go. And when you say yes, then it should do this. If you do this multiple times, it's going to struggle because I'm talking. So I'm just going to get rid of that by swiping up. When you've done that multiple times, that action will then be available in shortcuts for you.
Oh, nice.
And then the very first action you should do in this shortcut is to delete all your alarms. Don't do it at the end because that's going to delete all the alarms you just created. Okay, you don't want to do that. But delete all the alarms first, and then it will clear everything out, and you'll only have the active alarms there. And then hopefully Miss D is going to have a great time making sourdough. Now, I have to say, accounted for the fact that maybe you press the button at, I don't know, 5:37 in the morning, and then all of your alarms are going to be 7 minutes past, the half hour or the hour as things go on. I haven't made nice times here because while I could do that, that's potentially prone to error, and it requires a bit of maths, which is quite a few steps inside of shortcuts to do. But I think that this is a good approach. And if Ms. D then wants to add another timer after that to take the bread out of the oven, well, I think Ms. D will be able to figure out how to do so. Oops, that's my lock screen. You just swipe to the bottom, add another adjust date, make sure you select the previous adjusted date as your input, and then add a create timer after that. And that's it, you're done.
Wow, I'm so impressed. That's incredible. And of course, there will be a link in the show notes, Ms. D, for you to have that shortcut available to you so you can get on making bread exactly how you want to. Very cool. This next one comes from Terry. Terry writes, I need help to create an iOS shortcut. I created a shortcut to alert me when my break and lunch schedule time is near. What I would like to do is add either a 15 or 25-minute timer, depending on the break. Thanks for your help, Terry.
Well, this is really good. I do wish Terry had shared the shortcut. And so what I'm going to do, first of all, is show people how you can share a shortcut on iOS. Now, you may need to pop into the settings to enable sharing of shortcuts if you don't see a share button here at the bottom. But if you do see a share button, tap on that. You'll see some people to share with. And then there's this button here, copy iCloud link. When you tap copy iCloud link, then that puts the iCloud link on your clipboard. You can paste it into an email, wherever. And if you're sending us feedback, if you have a shortcut already, please do include it, because this way I can see what you've already got and hopefully just add to it for you. So what Terry needs here is a 15 or a 20-minute timer. Now, I guess the timer is so that when you're on the lock screen of the phone, you'll actually see how long the timer has left going on it. So I've got 5 minutes left, or I've got 10 minutes left. And if you go into the apps section inside of the shortcuts actions, and then you go to clock, then you can start a timer. But I'm guessing the part that Terry is struggling with is he doesn't want to start the timer, or she, not sure actually. Terry does not want to start a timer now before, lunch or the break starts. So what I would suggest is that you just create 2 quick actions, which are a 25-minute timer and 15-minute timer. And then you run them. Or if you want to have timers, then you can have a menu action. And I'm going to go with choose from menu and just add that. And then you just drag and drop this action inside. It needs to be a menu because menus contain actions, lists contain values, and put that in the wrong place. This is the problem with being on iOS 15 and testing everything out. So I can say there, I'm going to do 25. And then if you tap in the top left-hand corner on this little icon and tap duplicate, then you get a duplicate of that action, which means I don't have to go hunting for it again. I can also, I'll just type in 15. You can also tap here and then you can copy. And then if you tap on another one, you can paste below, for example.
Nice.
And then, so I will say, choose your timer. Thank you, autocorrect, for fixing that. And I'll rename this one to 15. But I don't know about you, Micah. 15 minutes after 25 minutes seems kind of illogical in a menu.
Yeah.
Surely it should be in ascending order. Well, if I use the grabbers here to crash shortcuts, because I'm running iOS 15, if I use the grabber here, okay. If you use the grabber on iOS 14 or non-buggy beta, then you can rearrange these options, okay? Which should mean I'm going to see, it crashes shortcuts every single time. Well, I have a repeatable bug to file with Apple feedback. Yes. You should be able to rearrange this option.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You don't have to go in and
and it will move all of the actions as well for you. So you don't have to do that. But yeah, I would just do this. I'd probably use a menu option here. And then what I would do is I go into automations and create a personal automation, and I'd use NFC. And I would use NFC for this because you can have a little NFC fob, say, for example, on your ID badge, or maybe your ID badge is like an entry badge to get in and out of the building. Well, when you can scan any kind of card is a wireless card, basically. So ID badges frequently are. If it's not, you can buy NFC tags on Amazon and stick it on the back. And then you can just create your automation. I'm just going to go back and I am going to select airplane mode, and I've turned airplane mode on just because I needed a trigger. Okay, then here you use run shortcut, and then you select your shortcut. Okay, so I'll just search for timers. I've got a lot of shortcuts here, so if I scroll, then I'm going to be here for a very long time. Timers. And there's still quite a few. There we go. And then you can just run that. And then that's going to pop up that menu whenever you run it. I'll always allow it access. This is an iOS 15 feature. And then choose your timer, 25 or 15. And so you tap it, you select the option, and then you've got your timer running. Make sure to turn off Ask Before Running. You can do that with NFC. And then if I didn't have this little option there, for my focus mode, then you would see my timer counting down. But I'm in focus mode because I'm focusing on podcast.
Very cool. I love the idea of using NFC because then it's just so simple that gets taken care of. And of course, you can do it by hand if you need to, or create a little home screen icon, which is how I do the auto lock thing. But maybe I'll have to, if Burke doesn't scream at me, maybe I'll put an NFC tag underneath this table, and then I can just use that to trigger that auto lock thing that I have that I use to turn off auto lock.
You can get them in different colors, Micah. And of course, it being NFC, providing you don't cover it in metal, then it's fine. So if you got, say, for example, brown tape and put it on the over the NFC tag under the table, people might not
even
notice.
know. Maybe I shouldn't have said anything. There.
I mean, I know you guys have got gaffer tape in the studio to make sure the cables stay where they need to be when they're not permanently placed there and things like that. So maybe it's just a piece of tape that got put in the wrong place.
NFC is fun, and I like to use it when the option presents itself. All right, let's move on to, I love rearranging cells and sheets. It's my favorite thing to do on iOS. Can you tell there was sarcasm there? I know it wasn't British, but it was sarcasm. Up next, we've got feedback and questions. And now it's time for feedback and questions. All right, this first bit of feedback comes from James. James writes in, and actually this was an ongoing conversation that we had from, I think it was last week, it may have been the week before. And I think we ended up issuing a little bit of an update on the show, which was kind of fun. Is lossless audio going to be available on the HomePod Mini as well? Yeah. I'm not going to say HomePod Mini 2 because then people might think I'm talking about a second version of the HomePod Mini. No, the HomePod Mini as well, or also. So originally I had said that it was only available on HomePod. And then I did some research into Apple's support documentation. And lossless audio will eventually be available on both the HomePod and the HomePod Mini. Right now, Apple's firmware supports a high-quality AAC file that is comparable to CD quality, but or close to it at least. In the future, via a software update, there will be support for lossless for HomePod and HomePod Mini. So if you've got one, or if you've got two, like Rosemary Orchard, as a stereo pair, you will get to listen to lossless audio on those devices.
Yes, I'm looking forward to rain sounds and lostness. I recently got a second HomePod Mini for my bedroom, so now I have a stereo pair of HomePod Minis in the bedroom. I have to say, it is really nice when I'm listening to the rain, that the rain comes from both sides of your head. It kind of sounded like that before with the HomePod Mini. But maybe I'm going to get lossless rain. I'm going to have to talk to Charlie, who creates dark noise, and see what happens there.
And would you like to read the next one?
Yeah, I can. So this was TJ who reached out on Twitter, and he's heard me talk about Tracked before. He wanted to know, because the Tracked app for iOS requires 3 to 4 taps to add something to the watch later list. And he wanted to know what apps I'm using. And my apps actually have changed a little bit because back when Mikah wasn't here for an episode, so Dan Marin came on the show. Dan Marin was using this great app called Cinema Time, which is great for films. And that's now what I use for films. It's $2.99 one-time in-app. One-time purchase, and then there's in-app purchases to unlock further features. But it's a great application. It's pretty, it's simple, and it syncs with Tracked. That's TRAKT. And .tv is their domain name, and I use that for tracking my films. And then there is another app which is called Television Time. Now, this shows up on your phone as TV Time. TV Time is a different app, but the developer's name is Maximilian Literal. So hopefully that'll be nice and memorable so that you can see that in the App Store. It's a great app. I find it's nice and easy. It's beautiful, and it just feels a little smoother to use than the Tracked app itself, which is free to download if you're using their service. But I have to say, especially as I don't know, there's this TV series, Mikah, that's come back this week. People seem excited about it. Like everybody's wearing blue. And then there's some red involved. I don't know what's going on there. But, people seem really excited about this Ted Lasso thing. Yes,
including Apple, who is like, they realize they've got a hit on their hands, I think, with this, and are pushing this show for sure. But it's a really good show. So I'm not surprised for their desires there.
Yeah, there's also another new show called Schmigadoon, which I've started watching, and I'm kind of hooked on. I wasn't sure I was going to like it, and I'm enjoying it. It's both ridiculous and fun at the same time. I mean, obviously ridiculous is usually fun, but I'm enjoying it. So and for people who struggled with the first episode, episodes 2 and 3 are out now. It's quite short, so maybe just give it a little longer. I certainly found that it picked up a bit in episode 2, which was really good.
Good. I'll have to check it out, and then I'll know that I need to stick with it a little bit before I kind of give up on it. It's essentially a modernized Brigadoon, is my understanding. That's correct, right?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Well, folks, I've checked the time, and it looks like it's time for App Caps. This is the part of the show where we put silly caps atop our head to honor our app picks of the week, or gadget picks of the week. These are the apps or gadgets we are using that we want to share with all of you. Maybe they're apps that we've used for a long time, or they're new to us as well, and we just think you should check them out. And in order to honor those picks, these fun hats rest atop our heads. And I am getting ready to ride a pony with my app cap that is very dusty.
because Mikah was extremely prepared for the show today and did not have to have a runner go to Leo's office and steal a hat that doesn't quite fit on his head for him.
This was not made for my very large brain. Just kidding. It's just a very large cranium. So it'll just have to rest precariously atop my head. I don't think I was made to be... what is this? Jockey. I don't think I was made to be a jockey, but I'm wearing a...
You're much too tall to be a jockey, Mikah. Much too tall.
There we go. That's very painful. So I'm just going to put it... There we go. All right. Rosemary Orchard, tell us about the cap atop your head and your app pick of the week.
Well, the hat atop my head is actually a hat that I wear in winter. It's black. It's large. It's fun. It's got a little bow on the back. It's nice and warm. It's made from a fake wool type thing. And it's, of course, very elegant, which I felt went nicely with the dress that I'm wearing for today. Because I'm going to be watching Ted Lasso when we finish doing this. And the app that I want to talk about is Fluidics. Now, I've been using Waterminder for a long time to track my water intake. And it's great. But I don't know, I was kind of bored with it and I stopped tracking my water intake. And then I found out a friend of mine makes this great app called Fluidics and it's free. So thank you, Gray, for telling me about your app. Why didn't you tell me about this before? I was probably podcasting when he was talking about it with some other people. But Fluidics is just a really simple, easy app to track your water intake. So every time you drink, an amount, you can add it, and you can also add a quick amount. So I have 250 milliliter glasses. Sorry, just 1 second. Okay. I apologize. My blinds and curtains have automatically closed on me. So I've changed this to be 250 milliliters. And then if you tap and hold, if you're familiar with the Streaks habit tracking app, it uses the same option here. So if I tap on it quickly, then I can edit it. And so I also have some 150 milliliter glasses, which I can add some of that because I had that for breakfast. And you see it's telling me I'm doing well here because I'm tracking a lot of water. But then I also have this great water bottle here. It's 750 milliliters. It's full. I need to drink it. And so I'm actually going to add this as part of a liter, 0.75. And then I can tap and hold and boom, done. What I also like about this, and now you're going to see that I've got 8 billion and one home screens because I'm playing with things, is it does have widget support. Now, I have to say I have a slight bug on iOS 15 where a lot of my widgets are not showing up, but I'm glad that this one is. So there's, you can have a goal view or just a logging view. And I find sometimes that can be helpful. It doesn't have the maximum widget size because, quite frankly, do you want to take up most of your home screen with water tracking? Maybe not. I mean, with stacking, possibly. But this little one's pretty cute, and so you can just add it, and voila, there you have it. You jump straight into the app. There are custom options to add if you're out somewhere. You can change your volume unit. I usually have it in milliliters, and you can change to which of these you want to open it to. Do you want to open it to the add screen or the quick add screen? And then, you've got background animation options, turning on and off your goal, and so on. Setting your goal is also here. So it's based on my weight. That's incorrect. I need to reweigh myself. And then, of course, you can unlock Pro, which is a whole 99 cents a year. Come on, it's ridiculously cheap.
Yeah,
you should just do that. I deliberately uninstalled it and reinstalled it on my phone so I could show people how cheap this is, because there are so many apps out there that just want your data and they want all your money as well. What is that? No, Fluidics is great, and it will let you track your water intake as well. So there we go.
Awesome. Got to get that one in the App Store. My app cap might sound a bit like an ad, but I promise you it's not. It's just a really cool thing that shows off one of the nice features of modern iPhones, and then also happens to be something that if you're curious, you can give it a go and see if it's for you. Coming from Missouri to California, depending on where you are and what system you're using, you might find that one mobile carrier is a better choice for you, and you get more service there. And it's okay, Anthony, by the way, to show this number since I won't have it for very long. But T-Mobile decided to offer something using the eSIM functionality that's available on iOS, or that's available on the iPhone. And I think it's available on some other devices as well, but in particular the iPhone here, which is it's called T-Mobile Test Drive. And what it lets you do is give the T-Mobile network a run for its money and see how well it works where you are. So when you first download the app, you sign in with a little bit of information, and then it generates a number for you that's connected to an eSIM, electronic SIM, that it can install on your phone. And then you get to, for 30 days, try T-Mobile's network for free. So I'm currently active. I've got 7 days remaining of this trial. And then if you're using a phone that already has a network, you'll see in the top right corner here, there are 2 network bars to the left of the Wi-Fi bar. That's because T-Mobile and AT&T, which is my normal network, are both being used on this iPhone. Right now, I've got full bars of T-Mobile and 2 bars of AT&T. So that gives you a little bit of a look at what the network is like in this current place. So I've gone a few places it's particularly with AT&T, it was particularly kind of low network in Bodega Bay area, which is one of my favorite places to go here in the region. And I wanted to see if T-Mobile was any better in that area and potentially consider making a switch if things were better. So if you'd like to try another network, and or you just want 30 days of free data that you could use, and you want to try out the built-in dual SIM functionality of your iPhone, download the T-Mobile Test Drive app, which lets you do that. There are a load of different options available in iOS, so you can choose which is your primary and secondary phone calling option, which is your primary and secondary data option, so that it will. So, for example, I have my phone number that's through AT&T as the thing that gets calls, but in terms of data, it's using the T-Mobile network as the data provider, so that I can give it a try and see that it's working as I'm expecting it to. And then you have the option to use mostly 5G or use less 5G and more LTE, et cetera, et cetera. So this has been really fun, just to give it a go and see what it's like. And there you go. It's 30 days or 30 gigabytes of data, whichever's first, and lets you give it a try without having to actually make the full switch. And it's truly just free to use. Like, as I said, I opened it up. I typed in some information that they require for the sake of, giving you the number and everything, and then installed it on my iPhone. And suddenly I was running T-Mobile and AT&T on my phone and was able to give it a go. And I didn't have to put in a credit card number, a debit number, or anything like that. And I was able to use it. So, yeah. I don't know how it works outside of the U.S., but certainly here in the US.
The app is not available in the App Store.
Got it.
Outside of the US, which is a shame. I'm really looking forward to T-Mobile's tourist plan being available via eSIM. I think that might already be the case, but there was a pandemic, so I didn't get to try it.
Right.
So I'm going to wait for that. But there's a couple of other companies which will let you just download the app and use an eSIM and straight off, which is good. Truphone, Truphone is one of them. And there's a couple of other people who do data only plans as well around the world, which is quite interesting. So I'm really glad that T-Mobile is letting you do this. I feel like more carriers ought to support eSIM, but I know over here in the UK, there is one carrier that has the infrastructure to do that, and that's EE, and that's it. Nobody else has got the infrastructure, at the very least for the Apple Watch eSIM. That's all they have the infrastructure for.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, they actually need to make some, I think, not insignificant changes in order for that to be possible. So I'm looking forward to that happening, but it's going to be slow progress. We're not going to have fiber to everybody until 2025 at the earliest, as it is.
Well, we'll be far behind on that.
Well, yes, but I live in a relatively large town, and my internet's pretty poor at times, as I'm sure people can tell occasionally on the video streams.
Well, yes, that is T-Mobile Test Drive. Again, available for free in the App Store, which I was shocked that it was so easy to use, and give it a go. Folks, if you have questions, feedback, etc., you should email us, iostoday@twit.tv, or tweet at us with the hashtag AskIOSToday, or you can leave us a message in the Discord, which I'll talk about in just a second, where you might have questions that come up. We also should let you know that if you'd like to tune in live and see us do this show, you can do so every Friday currently at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, 1800 UTC by going to twit.tv/live. The best way to get the show, though, is by subscribing to it. You do that by going to twit.tv/iOS, where we've got links to subscribe in all the different places. You just click subscribe to audio or subscribe to video and then choose your provider. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Pocket Cast, Spotify, etc., etc. I should mention, as I said I would, I was talking about the Discord earlier. Joining Club Twit is a great way to not only support the network, but get some pretty cool perks in the meantime. For $7 a month, you get all of Twit's shows ad-free. It's your personal RSS link. You also get access to the Twit Plus bonus stream, where there are things you're not going to find anywhere else. So before show, after show, etc., and access to the members only Discord server. Yes, it is a way to chat with us at Twit, the hosts and the producers and all the other Twit folks, and then also hang out with all the other great pals who are supporting our network by being a member of Club Twit. How much does that cost? $50? $900? No, it's just $7 a month. And for $7 a month, you are supporting all of us here at Twit and making sure we can continue to make these great shows that you tune into. So think about joining the club. We would love to have you be a part of the fun. And yeah, that's that. Rosemary Orchard, if folks want to follow you online and check out all the great work you are doing, where do they go to do that?
Easiest place, rosemaryorchard.com has links to all the stuff that I do, including links right back to this podcast and 2 other podcasts I host, as well as a couple of books I've written. Micah, what about you?
Well, you can head to chihuahua.coffee. That's CHIHUAHUA.coffee, where I've got links to the places I am most active online, or you can type in @Micah Sargent on many a social media network and find me there. All right, that brings us to the end of iOS Today. Until next time, we say adieu.
Hey, if you like tech news, but you also like hearing about it from the people who are actually writing the stories, well, I've got a show for you. It's called Tech News Weekly, and it's me, Jason Howell, along with my co-host, Micah Sargent. Every week, we invite the people making and breaking the biggest tech news stories from around the web onto this show to talk to us about it. It's a lot of fun. You should check it out. Tech News Weekly can be found at twit.tv/TNW every Thursday. We'll see you there.